Thank you for being here today and participating in our 85th anniversary interviews. I'd love to start out by you sharing your name and how long you've been at Ascension.
Thank you very much. I'm Bob Boyd, and I came to Ascension 75 years ago. And at that time, I was just a young child, you might say, and I entered into the program at that time.
And I'm Muriel Boyd, and I came to Ascension 62 years ago, actually, yes. Well, I married him, and that's why I came to Ascension.
Wow, what a legacy. So, if you could share with us what drew you to Ascension besides a marriage, although that's a good reason.
This is the best.
Well, I think what drew me to Ascension was that we were probably the newest church in the village. There were a couple of smaller ones, but this was where the action was. This was the church in Magnolia. And being at the age that I was, I picked it, and it's always been my church.
Yeah.
I just feel very closely. And I think another thing that has drawn me lately are in the last 30 or 40 years, I've met a lot of really nice people, and I consider them my friends. Mm-hmm. And of course, I feel that the influence of our religion has been very strong here, mm-hmm. and just very compatible with my way of thinking. And I guess the last reason that I came, it wasn't the least of importance, however, was the fact that my grandmother strongly encouraged me to come. Ah. And that's the main reasons why I came, I think.
Wow.
Muriel?
Well, I guess my best memories of this church are coming here after being married to Robert and joining the St. Helens Guild, which, of course, was one of the big guilds in the church. And we made a lot of wonderful things for the bazaars, and we enjoyed doing that. And, of course, we also were the leaders of the Young People's Group, EYC. And we had all the young people's groups, and they were, I think it was about 20 of them, wasn't there? About that. Yeah, they were wonderful. We used to take them skiing and did all kinds of interesting things together, and they were wonderful. Of course, they're all old now and married. Older than you, by the way.
Probably.
Yes.
Wonderful. So what has been one ministry area that you've been passionate about here at Ascension? And if you could tell us a little bit about what that ministry area was and how your involvement in that ministry has deepened your faith.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, one of the major activities in the church is its process of supporting seafarers. And I became acquainted with seafarers over 15 years ago when Muriel and I attended a luncheon on board one of the cruise ships being put on by seafarers as a fundraiser. And when we got there was a lot of commotion going on, and we met Ken Hawkins for the first time, and he escorted us to a table for four, and we sat down, and within a very few minutes, I looked up, and there was the bishop and his wife. I had never met them before.
They just arrived.
And they had just arrived here. And it was truly a pleasure to have the opportunity to sit and talk with them. And later on, Ken called me on the phone and asked me if I wanted to come to a board meeting. And I said, well, yeah, I guess so. We'll see what's going on. Sounds interesting. And I did go that time, and I became very interested and started working with Ken at Seafarers, mm-hmm. and continued for a number of years and was on the board of directors. In fact, I ended up as vice president of the board. Okay. And I just have got an awful lot out of it. I think that their activities are geared to people from around the world, and they do truly supply us with a function to mm-hmm. help these poor people who seldom get home. Maybe in 11 months, if they're lucky, their contracts are over. Wow. But it's a tough life, and I think it's a great organization, and I'm sure I'm happy to see that a former parishioner from this church is now running it.
That's right. So, Muriel, what about you? Do you have a ministry area that you?
Well, actually, the altar guild was my favorite thing. I was on the altar guild, and of course, we did the decorations for Christmas and all the other special events, and then we did a lot of interesting things together. But the most fun, I think, of the whole thing was having the young altar guild, young girls. In fact, I think, weren't you one of them? You must have been too young.
Must have been too young.
Too young, yeah. Yeah, well, Lori Boyd and let's see, so many of the girls.
Foreman's daughter,
the foreman's,
the Cleveland's daughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
I had a mental
Names
block
go
for
on
a
and
minute.
on.
Yeah, the foreman's daughter and the Cleveland's daughter, and all these young girls that were about the same age all came to church together.
Yeah.
And they all were, yes, of course, I forgot they were much older than you. So anyway, but that's okay because we had a wonderful time and they learned a lot and it was just great. That was my favorite guild actually that I belonged to. But
That's wonderful.
It really was.
Well, I know it's hard to limit memories to just a few, especially all the years that both of you have been here. But if you could share some of your special memories of just a couple of them about something that really stands out to you.
Sure, I'd love to. One of the first activities that I was involved in was attending church school here, as I said earlier. And I made a lot of good friends, and I can remember it so well. It was held in McLaughlin Hall, and the women in the church had made curtains out of burlap that they could pull across, separating each pew. And then the classes, the different age groups would meet in the pews. And that was our Sunday school. And we used to have to get out of there promptly at 10:30 because the 11 o'clock service started, and that was all there was. There wasn't the present church at all here. And I remember that very well, and I also remember Reverend Rogers, who was the rector here at that time, and he taught acolyte training every Thursday after school. And we all used to come down, and we had a great time. I learned more about my religion and what it's all about through that, I think, than in any other place. And then later on, I was confirmed here and continued on.
That's wonderful.
But it was a wonderful time, and I think that it was a good basis for our community because we had most of the outstanding young people from Magnolia attending. And it was really pretty nice. The other item I wanted to mention, Muriel mentioned briefly about us being involved with the young people's group right after we were first married. And we had a new curate come here. His name was Don Miller.
Oh.
And Reverend Miller is still alive as far as I know. He lives down in southwestern Washington. Get a postcard from him and a Christmas card from him every Christmas. And so we try and stay in touch. Occasionally he calls me or I call him, so we do. But I haven't talked to him in quite a long time, so I'm not sure what his present status is.
Yeah.
But anyway, he used to live up 34th here in a small apartment, and once in a while he would invite everybody up there for a meeting. And it turned out that Don, who was young himself, I would say then about in his early 20s, he liked to wrestle, and the boys liked to wrestle, and so they didn't waste any time. They'd wrestle in his front room, and they would bang around and tear the place up, and I thought it was never going to be the same, but he loved it. He loved being there, and he loved doing it, but that's an early memory that I don't think I'll ever forget.
Oh, my gosh. That's special.
It is,
Yeah.
very special.
Leaving an
yeah.
imprint on your life in an unexpected way.
Yeah, that's so true, yes.
That's great. What about for you, Muriel? Any memories that...
Well, my best memories, of course, are my children's baptism here.
Yeah.
And one of my, one of my children's weddings, which was really very lovely here, and then the baptism of my grandchildren as well. One of them, the bishop was here and baptized one of my grandchildren, yes, so that was lovely. And those are my best memories.
Yeah. I can see why. All the
Yeah.
family and the different generations. That's
Yes,
really
so
special.
We've been here for quite a while, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. There's a long, 62 years is a long time for me, and 75 for him is a long
That's
time
right.
too, yes.
Yeah, that's a wonderful
Oh,
history here.
it is.
We're
It's
glad you're here to
amazing.
share
We're
some of
very
these
bl-
stories.
We're very blessed, and thank you so much for asking us. That was so
Yeah.
sweet of you to do that. Thank you.
So I have a last question,
Yes.
and that is, after all these years and all these memories and all these connections and friendships that you've made, why have you remained active at Ascension? What has kept you here?
I think the major reason that I stay around is I feel close to God here. I really do, and it's a break from the routine of life to be able to come to a place of worship like this, and that's part of it. Certainly, we have good fellowship here. People
Yes.
mix well, and I still see a lot of my old friends who are active here.
A few
and,
left over. A few
and,
left over. Yeah, the people have gone. That's the sad part about it. Many of our friends
Yeah.
have gone. Yes, many of our older friends have. But they're in a better place, so
Yeah.
we have good, happy memories for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing. Are there any other stories that have surfaced as we're sitting here in this place that you want to share that you didn't get to earlier?
I have one other,
Okay.
and it's a memory I'll never forget.
Oh,
Probably it was 30 years ago or so, Father Fred McLaughlin came on board here, and I saw him in church the first Sunday, and I shook his hand, and I thought, well, he'll be a nice one to have around for a while, and so I went home, went about my business. Later that week, I got a telephone call, and it was Father Fred, and he said, may I come over and see you? And I was greatly taken back, and I thought, why would the rector want to come see me? I was then maybe 35 years old or so. And he came, and he said, I'd like you to be our treasurer. And it just took me with great surprise. And it wasn't long before that I had received my CPA, and I was quite proud of that. And I said, well, yes, I'll do it, not knowing what I was going to get into, but I did. I served as treasurer for 2 years.
yeah. That's special. He saw that gift in you and
Yes,
got you involved
yes.
right from the get-go.
From the get-go, yes,
Yeah.
that's so true. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So
Did you
wonderful.
did you serve as treasurer more than one time?
2 years.
3 years, but did you do another term later?
no,
Okay. But I know you've helped out with other financial things,
Oh,
projects
yeah,
over the
several.
years. So,
When
yeah. Yeah.
we had a major renovation of
Yeah.
the place here a few years back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took the responsibility for caring for that
Oh, okay.
financially.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
great surprise. We had anticipated payments coming in for the next 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was all paid for by the time we finished.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was really great.
That says a lot
It
And,
does,
uh,
doesn't
and
it?
made your job a lot easier.
Yeah, well, and we had some good leadership, good enough head
Good,
of that
yeah.
project, and it
Yeah.
really worked out well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we
Well,
had some very
this
good.
place has evolved. It doesn't look like what it used to when he first started coming. This wasn't even here. So the expansion and the upkeep of our building, is an important piece of being a community together. So
Yes.
neat to hear that early story. Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's a
That's
wonderful
fun.
story. It really is. I think that's what kept me here and drew me here was the fact that there's so many wonderful stories. And
Yeah.
You would tell me more stories all the time, so it just
Remember when?
When, yes, and all the wonderful people here. We really enjoyed them very much. I was very, very blessed to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, and we are blessed because we've been here so many years. It's just great. Unbelievable sometimes, but it's true. At least we have our health, and that's one thing.
Absolutely.
That helps
Yeah.
a lot. Yes, it really does.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to come and share and, reveal some of these more personal things with us. We really appreciate you doing that, because 85 years is something to be celebrated, and hopefully we're here for another 85 more.
Yeah, thank you.
We
yeah.
hope so. Thank
Yeah.
you so
No,
much for
it was-
inviting us. Thank
It
you.
was 75 years here.
75.
75.
75,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
75.
Don't put any more numbers. Not any more years on there.
That's enough. That's perfect.
I meant 85 for Ascension, so
Yeah.
not
Well,
85 for here.
85. 85 years pretty, well, for me, it'll be 85 years.
Oh, wow. You don't have to
And he's
reveal that.
87 he'll be 87 years in July, so.
Wow.
So, it's pretty, we're very lucky to be still be
Yeah.
here. We think
So
of all
were
our
you and
friends.
Carol Batchelder in the same class, or are you a year apart?
She's 2 years older
2
than
years,
he is.
okay.
She's 2 years older than he
2
is.
years,
yeah.
okay.
So, yeah.
So you guys were here as youngsters together.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
We went through Magnolia Grade School, Queen Anne High School, and the University of Washington.
All the way.
All the way.
yeah.
All the
We knew
way.
each other, yeah.
Wow. Do you have another friend that you've known as long as Carol?
Maybe one or two.
One or two. That's
but-
pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you seen Magnolia Grade School lately? It's changed a lot.
Yeah, I haven't, I mean, not the inside since
Oh, you
they've done-
haven't been inside?
No.
Oh,
Did you
no.
guys get off- an invite
we
to go
went-
see the-
Yes, we saw it originally when they first, before the
Wow.
before the pandemic.
Yeah.
We went in before the
Yeah.
pandemic. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
We couldn't get over how lovely it looked. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't go there though. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
I was a Briarcliff kid.
Oh.
Oh,
Other.
Oh, that's right. You were. Oh, it's so sad over there. Nothing but buildings.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It really is. My daughter lives on Viewmont Way.
Right.
And she backs right
Backs
into
up, so
it.
she knows, yeah,
She knows what it's
exactly.
like. But that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, good. Everything turn out? Okay. I think we're good, yeah?